She was like, I don't hear anything.
It turns out my microphone was muted this entire time. Oops! How's that? Am I actually coming through now? Apparently there's still no sound coming through. OBS says I should have sound coming through.
Oh, now there's sound?
Oh, now there is, okay. Great, just a stream delay. Alright, excellent. So that means you missed literally all of my preamble. Excellent. So what I have over here is a kind of Impedinax flycatcher. A lot of these flycatchers are very infamous for being extremely difficult to tell apart in the hand. This one, I can look at wing morphology. If I count in from the 10th to the 6th primary feather, I can see that the 6th primary feather just goes straight along. It doesn't have a little, kind of thing. We looked at one of the earlier ones. I'm not sure how well it's showing up on this webcam, but this and a combination of wing measurement means that it is what we call a trails flycatcher, which is a catch-all, meaning it could be a willow or an alder, one or the other. We have no way of knowing which because they are nearly indistinguishable in the hand, and figuring them out would take a whole bunch of measurements that I don't really feel like doing right now because they have a huge amount of overlap.
We need the full band number, please.
Yeah. Full band number is 2880 21801. That's in sequence for everything else? Good. The bands themselves are soft aluminum. Specialized pliers are able to open them up such that they can be fitted on the bird's leg. The bands and the pliers are all specifically sized for the size of the bird's leg, so there is absolutely no risk of injury as long as I do everything correctly. Which I'm a professional, so of course I am. And there we go, the band is now on that bird's leg and will stay on there for the rest of its natural life. And that means that we can now track this bird as an individual wherever it ends up going. If it shows up somewhere else, we can look at that band number, figure out exactly where it came from. I'll speed through the rest of the measurements because I held this one for a bit because I had to go back over everything because I left my mic off. So wing 68, tails 56. Flight feather wear 0 by 0. That's 0, 0, 0. That's zeros across the board, actually. No body molt or anything, even. I forgot to age it.
And the weight is gone. I think it's...
Weight is gone. This is a hatch ear by skull development, and skull is a 2. And sex is unknown.
Okay. And you need the tube to...
Yes. .9 grams.
Great.
I should probably have that a little bit more centered. Ah well, figuring stuff out as I go. I have a setup that's quite literally held together with string and duct tape, so, and I'm short on duct tape. This one's ready to go, gets released out the hatch right behind me. See ya.
Great.
Next bird. How on earth did this happen? So the bag string is somehow wedged completely in the clothespin we used to mark what net it's from. You know what, we can fix that later.
Do you want me to work on it? You can grab a different bird. Or are you gonna...
I've already got this one. It's fine. Okay. Hello, hello. So, our other staff are about to go on check. I forgot to zero the scale. There we go. So, other staff are about to go on check. We check our nets every 30 minutes to see what has been caught, and then bring them back here to do our thing. So this is another Amphidonax flycatcher of some description. So again, I can look at wing morphology to just see if I can get it down to the species. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. The 6th primary feather does have a small cut in the leading edge. It's what we refer to as a margination. And a margination on the 6th primary feather indicates that this is a least flycatcher, which is one of the most common Amphidonax we have in the natural area, as well as just one of the most common birds here, full stop. And number is 25. Going a little faster with this one because I have a fair few birds behind me. Should have that on camera. These buffy colored wing bars indicate that this bird is a hatchier, hatched sometime this year. Perhaps here, perhaps somewhere else. It's tough to tell.
Hatcher by plumage.
Hatcher by plumage, yes. Sex is unknown. My wing chord is 64. They're on the large size for at least. Tail's 55. White feather wear is 0 by 0. Ooh, you're multi. So you can see all those pin feathers growing in. That's this bird replacing its body plumage with slightly fresher feathers. A lot of these feathers the bird is wearing were still what it had when it was in the nest. So it's swapping those out for slightly less ratty ones. Anyway, 0, 0, 0, and then 4 for body molt.
Okay.
And this one's done. See ya. I need to set up some sort of release camera. That's one more camera that I really know what to do with. The other fun thing about bringing a lot of these birds out is I haven't got a clue what's in most of them. Because I didn't extract most of these. They were already here when I got back. So it's a bit of a mystery to figuring out what they are.
They're all still the 715s? No, are we on 745?
Yes, these are still 715.
Okay.
So this is a slightly different one. This we can tell from the hooked beak is a kind of vireo. And we can tell from the fact that it is whining at me, as well as the indistinct eye line, the fuzzy white stripe above the eye, and the fact that the eye is black as opposed to red or brown, that this is a warbling vireo, which is another of our local breeders. So you take a size 0.
Okay.
And is 02. These guys are a little bit tough to age just by plumage. But one of the things that's helpful for them is, in a lot of birds, the 10th primary feather is vestigial. So it's just this little thing right here. And it's longer than the primary coverts, which is one of the things that indicates that it's a hatchier bird. So it's one that hatched sometime this year. When exactly? Can't tell. Probably a few months ago, but the exact date is hard to estimate unless you physically see them come out of the nest. But just to be sure, I'm also going to check on skull development. Bird skulls are a lot like ours in that they're not fully developed when they leave the nest. It takes a little bit for a second layer of bone to form over the first. And it does so in really predictable patterns that you can often see by pulling the feathers forward. I don't think I'm going to have any luck here because you are very dandruffy. There is a bit of a molt limit in there anyway, so yeah, I just want a secondary characteristic. Hatchier by plumage, sex is unknown. Wing chords 67, tails 46. And when I'm doing that, I'm checking for breeding characteristics and fat deposition. Flight feather wear is 0 by 0, and everything else is 0, except body molt, which is a 1.
Okay.
This one's also still molting.
Do you want anything for skull or no?
No, I wasn't able to see anything.
Okay.
So long. Yeah, same pattern. And that's mostly the process. It's just chewing through a lot of these birds, one at a time, getting our measurements, sending them off. We're catching on average 50 to 60 birds in a given day, so we need to be able to get through them relatively quickly. Here's a familiar looking one. It's basically identical looking to the one we had last time. This is another warbling vireo. Typically one of our more common captures. We get a fair few of them. Band 03. You've got the same thing. P10 is longer than the primary coverts. If we'll have any better luck's going you. Wasn't using head and shoulders at all. Okay, you're a little bit clearer. There we go, okay. Skull is a 1, so that's a hatchier by skull. That's one of our more definitive characteristics. Wing is 70. Tail is 50. Flight feather wear is 1 by 1. They're a little more ratty. You are very molty. So that's zeros across the board. Body molt is a 3.
Sex?
Unknown.
Perfect.
I'm actually going to fiddle with OBS a little bit. Let's get this bit of a closer in look. Can't really zoom in the webcam all that effectively, but I can kind of just make the feed bigger. That's about right. So I should probably mention what the importance and purpose of banding is. As I mentioned while my... Ow! Ow! Okay, ow, stop. Right, I remember what was in this net.
Chickadees?
Yeah! So before I talk about the actual purpose of banding, I have one of my favorite birds to handle. This is a black Cat Chickadee, and anyone who's watched a few of the observatory's previous videos will know that chickadees are the absolutely worst, and they are incredibly vicious. Okay, you can stop now. and basically exist to cause pain. This one has already been banded, so I can actually get to the actual point of banding here. When we have a previously banded bird, we don't replace the band. Getting those birds that are already banded is in fact the entire point. Because those bands have completely unique numbers, this allows us to track them wherever they show up. If they show up repeatedly at a given area, that means that we can keep track of their condition and how that changes over time. If they show up somewhere else, well, now we have 2 points on a map, and we can use that to figure out their movements and how that changes over time. In this case, this is probably a local bird. This is one that we probably banded a couple weeks to a couple months ago. So its band number is 2880-21002. The aging criteria I can use for chickadees is I can look at the outermost tail feather and try to see whether the white webbing on here wraps all the way around the point or whether it stops right at the end. It's not an incredibly reliable aging characteristic, but it's about all I've got for chickadees. So this one, the white stops right at the edge here. So this is probably a hatch-year bird. The vast majority of the birds that we capture on fall migration are hatch years just because they outnumber the older ones by a factor of about 5. Wing is 68, tail 67. Where's 1 by 1. Zeros and then 2 for body mold.
6.
Unknown.
Perfect.
So this little jerk is about ready to go. As soon as it decides to stop biting my finger. You know what, you can just leave. You're not going to pose cutely for me. Get out of here. Right. Clean that. Chickadees are a lot of people's favorites. In some cases, they're people's favorites because they are ridiculously angry. But I do get quite a lot of glee out of surprising people with just how ridiculously vicious they are. Oh, speak of the devil. Here is another chickadee. Alright, hold still. 2880-216-21678. Her tail is all matted up with spider webs. That is also a hatch year. So sex is unknown. Wing is 68. Tail is a matted mess, so I'm not going to get an accurate measurement out of it. Flight feather wear is 1 by 1. A lot of these things that we're grading on somewhat arbitrary, it's not necessarily arbitrary, but a lot of these we grade on numerical scales, with 0 meaning no wear at all, and 5 meaning quite a lot of wear. There are quantifiable benchmarks to use with those, like we define 3 as damage that's reaching the shaft. But a lot of it is up to interpretation. Zeros and then 3. So several of the measurements we take include such things as feather wear, breeding characteristics, fat deposition, wing length, tail length, which you've already seen, and also an assessment of body molt, which gives us a rough estimate of how far into their molt cycle these birds are and can inform us about when exactly they're planning on migrating. Depending on the bird, some migrate during molting, some migrate only after molting, some will migrate and then molt. So it all depends on the bird. Chickadees are relatively non-migratory, so they don't really need to worry about that.
Also the weight. Like, it's the only thing you mentioned.
White out that way, because that's not right.
Okay, I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, it's a bit heavy.
And just put us like a
Just
dash.
write it out, yeah.
Okay.
Better to have no data point at all than a nonsensical one. Occasionally I'll forget to zero the scale or not zero it properly or something.
Okay.
When you're doing this many birds and taking this many measurements, occasional slight mistakes are kind of inevitable. Mm-hmm. Ooh, you're trying to crawl right out on me. Well, hello, hello, it's another chickadee. That's also already been banded. That's going to be the majority of chickadees. We've banded probably most of them so far. 2880, 21679. That's a much nicer tail, and that's going to be another hatch year.
64 again?
Yeah. Wing is 63, a bit short for a chickadee. Tail 62. Ooh, you're on the small side. Thanks for showing us your day-to-day. Well, thanks for coming in and taking a look at it. This is something that usually you have to come right out to site to get a close look at. But you know, we are located a bit off the beaten path, so I hope this serves as a bit more of an accessible option. Plus it means you get a close-up look at, you get to see a chickadee chomping on me in glorious HD. Okay, you can stop now. What else do I need? Right. That is 1 by 1. Breeding characteristics and fat are 0, and body mold height score as a 2.
Okay. Sex unknown?
Yeah, you pretty much can't sex chickadees unless they're showing breeding characteristics, and even then they're kind of subtle sometimes. Okay, ow, 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 ow. I regret putting you in photographer's grip. Alright, get out of here. Ow! Why are you like this? The lovely thing about chickadees is not only are they ridiculously angry, they also know exactly how to hurt. And they're very good at it. You might be from today, actually. Flip back to the 0As. Mm-hmm. 39911. Well, you need to go back a while for that. Okay. When did we originally get this one? This one was from, like 3 weeks ago. What are you doing? So this is a Tennessee warbler, which is, this is one of our boreal migrants, and not one of the ones that typically breeds around here. It's also previously banded, but it was banded back at the end of July. So slightly over 3 weeks ago, which is a really long time for a boreal migrant to be sticking around. That said, we are right at the beginning of fall migration, so a lot of these birds aren't really going to be moving a huge amount. They're relatively unhurried. They haven't really felt much pressure to get a move on yet.
I need the bad number.
Yes. 2950 39911.
Okay.
This one's doing the same thing as the last one, where it's a very obvious hatch here from the wing bar and the molt limit, but it's replacing the outermost two primaries. I wonder if that's just like a thing that Tennessee warblers do that's not mentioned in Pile.
You don't normally have them stick around so long, maybe that's...
We don't normally have them stick around for this long, but also this is some unusual molt behavior that I'm not sure what to make of. Pardon me for a bit, this is a bit of a mystery. I just want to be extra sure of what I'm looking at. So I'm using skull, I'm using the skull as like my most definitive characteristic, and I can base everything else off of that. Problem is you're very dandruffy and I can't really make anything out. Alright, that means let's break out the reference guide. Tennessee Warblers, 447. Oh, we're already here. Heavily washed yellow. Primarily on the summer grounds, while after hatchery sometimes can suspend flight feather replacement until the migration. First breed basic usually includes all median and greater coverts, but no turrets or wrecks. 20 to 50% replace the greater lula. Doesn't say anything about outer primary replacement. These have all been replaced too. What is going on with this one? I can't make out anything on that skull either. Huh. Maybe that wing bar thing isn't as reliable as we thought. Yeah. Alright, after hatch year by MR, because it's replacing flight feathers, that's something that only older birds typically do. Just kind of throwing me off a little bit, because we found that these sort of bright corners to the greater coverts are pretty reliable for calling them young birds. But that would seem to not be the case. Alright, moving right along. Wing 65, tails 42. Flight feather wears 0 by 0. Everything is 0 except body molt, which is 3.
Sorry, with the weight.
All right.
Insect unknown.
Yeah. It's usually good practice to record the weight first.
Yeah. Oh, these two on the right.
10 grams on the nose. Those are from the 735.
Okay. Perception.
And these are 715?
Yeah. I'm going to drop some measurements.
I'm going to move from over to here. Okay.
So we're falling a little bit behind as far as birds go, so I'm going to just blast through the next few with minimal commentary. At least flycatcher. 2-6. Hatch here by plumage, 6 unknown. $60, 54, 0 by 0. 0 is 2. Unit. Yellow Warbler, recapture. Two 960 58852. After hatch here by plumage, I think. Hang on. Maybe not, I'm something not so sure. I'm a liar, hatch here by skull. I guess those are a bit ratty in comparison. Skull is a 2. Sex is unknown. 60, 46, 0 by 0. Zero, 0, 4, 2.
4 fat, 2 molt.
Yes. That one had quite a lot of fat on it. Rather chunky. A lot of them store fair amounts of fat when they're preparing to migrate, so this one's about ready to head out by my estimation. You need to let go. Another yellow warbler recapture. 2960 58741, pardon me. Yeah, that's an after hatcher.
Maybe still on 715.
Yeah, almost. After hatch here by MR. Precisely remember the foreground's more of a green than a yellow, but yeah, male by plumage. 64, 46, 0 by 0. Zeros across the board, molt 3. We're getting more people tuning in right when I'm doing minimal commentary. Excellent. Right now we've got a fair few birds, so I'm falling a little behind, so my emphasis is on speed over anything else. Yellow Warbler, new band.
0?
Yes. 04. Thank you, Jaina, for keeping everything running smoothly in the background.
You are welcome. I'm gonna go and check it. Welcome with you. See you shortly. See you.
Plumage, why are you unhelpful? After hatch here by skull. Male by plumage. Skull's a 6. Wing is 63. Tail's 47. Everything is 0, fat to 2. New next, new check. 7:45 now.
7:40.
Yellow warblers are fun. They are, I think, number 3 most common for birds banded here. They're one of the local breeders. So earlier in the season, they're just singing constantly everywhere. Least flycatcher. Two 7. Hatch here by plumage. Sex unknown. Wing is 61. Tail is 54. 0 by 0 for flight unaware. 0s across the board, molt 2. Be gone. You can hear a hummingbird chittering away outside. Ooh, an actual new band. Another yellow warbler. This one's considerably less yellow than the others, because I suspect this is a young bird. Zero 5.
This is 7:45.
Yes. The last one from that.
Yeah.
You're grabbing yourself really weirdly here. Can you stop? Alright. Yeah. So that is a hatchier by plumage. And sex unknown. You're in that overlap range between male and female. 60, 42. 1 by 1. And 0010. You're done molting. So all the numbers and measurements I'm calling out, by the way, are for the benefit of the scribe who I have off camera to my right. She is diligently recording down everything that I tell her, and all that data is something that we'll be using for analysis going forward. Boy, that was a lot of birds from last check. So I went from not having a lot of birds and having to stretch each one out to having a lot of birds and not being able to really spend any time on any given one. So speaking of lovely splashes of color, there is a very nice bright yellow warbler. This one's kind of showcasing the red streaking that they can get on their chest sometimes. The males typically show this, but older females can also show a little bit of red. So I'll figure out the details of that in a second. 06 is the band. Yeah, that's an after hatch here by a combination of characteristics. Dropped a tail feather on me. And this one I'll have to check in my reference guide briefly, just to refresh myself. A little more early bright yellow from more simply greenish, as opposed to bright yellow from moderate green wash. Yeah, it's no different from the foreground compared to everything else. Moderately distinct red streaking on the breast and flanks. Of course there's overlap. Streaking's relatively thin. Problem is I got used to doing another species of bird, and now I'm having to recalibrate myself with this one. So that tail's definitely male, but it can also be female. Just the red streaks. Call it female for the moment. I'm going to double check in another reference in a second. So I got my hands free. 63, 40, 48, 0 by 0. And there's no fat in there. Body molt is a 1. It's just trace. Thankfully, we have a photographic guide, which can sometimes be helpful for when the text guide is less than useful. Okay, that was a male. That was a male. Yeah. And something different. What are you? By wing morphology, this is a least flycatcher. Two, 8 is the band. This is another hatch ear by plumage. And they're basically all going to be hatch ears by now. The older ones have basically all cleared out. 62, 55, 0 by 0 is for flight feather wear. 0011. Out of here. Let's quickly pull up the yellow warblers on Pyranga because I'm not sure I trust the photographic guide all that much. I could have sworn I saw some decent Is there a yellow warbler on here? So I'm using another photographic reference guide that is online. I want DCB. It's a lot more dull. It's also the same pictures that the other guide is showing, so thank you, Pyranga, you are not helpful. Never mind, moving on. Do. Ooh, this is a wriggly one. Get in my hand, please. This is a very uncooperative yellow warbler. Zero 07. The other after-hatchery yellow warbler, did I call that a male as well? From earlier today?
That was unknown.
After-hatchery.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, it was a male, yeah.
Those were both males. Just kind of confirms that. Hatch here by plumage. And this one is showing just a little tiny bit of red streaking on the flanks here. Pardon me. Just a little bit of red streaking on the chest. This is a younger bird. Won't show the full red streaking of that last one until next year, but still plenty bright enough. It's got enough of that red streaking for me to call it a male as well. So wing 62, tail 47. Feather wears 1 by 1.
It's a fun one.
That's a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
How fun? Ooh.
Really fun.
Zeros across the board, 4 for molt. So that's... I need to demarcate where the camera view is a little bit more clearly, because it's tough for me to have to kind of judge it by eye. Get those at the corners-ish, that'll... yeah. New net. What have you done? You're wedged against the side of the bag. Something pounding against the light receptacle. Maybe to move that a little to one peg to the right so it's making less noise. Another yellow warbler. There will be a lot of these. 08. Okay, that's probably what Pile's referring to a bit more. So that's an afterhatch here by plumage. Tricky thing with yellow warblers is that they're ostensibly a lot easier to sex when they're older, but I find they're actually harder because there's more overlap and you're more easily thrown by them just being nice and bright. Those red streaks go down really far, so I think I can call this one a male as well. 62, 47, 0, 0. Zeros, no, sorry, 0, 0, 2, 0. Oh, hello. So this is a little bit of a change of pace. You think you're a chickadee? All right, calm down. So this is a very pretty, albeit very scruffy one. This is one of the ones that we get coming through in quite large numbers, or will be in a little bit. This is a myrtle warbler, or a subspecies of the yellow-rumped warbler. And you can see the namesake right there. But yeah, we'll be getting these guys in the hundreds in about a month or so. 09. This one is hilariously scruffy because A, we're getting flight feather replacement in sequence. So you can see all these coverts are being molted. The flight feathers here are being replaced. The coverts are in the middle of being replaced. Just hilariously scruffy. But also, tail. Well, that's tiny little, look at that stupid tiny little nubbin of a tail. Adorable. Anyway, so that one's an after hatch here by MR. It's molting its flight feathers, which is something that only older birds of this species do. I can get a wing measurement off this. 69. Can't get a tail measurement because the tail is just that. And I might have to leave this one unknown just because of how ridiculously scruffy it is. Because it can only use like 1 out of the 4 typical criteria. Everything else is either molted out or in the process of molting in. A little bit of alternate plumage left on the face. I might be able to call it female based on that, because on a, actually, yeah, black in the back would support female. Yeah, this is female. And maybe, if we're lucky... Yep, there we are. That is a residual brood patch, which is a thing that only female birds have. It's in the process of growing back in, but it still has it's a clearly delineated bald area that the bird would have used to incubate eggs about a month and a half ago. And it's just growing back in because we can't leave that bald forever. So female by plumage, breeding characteristics are 0, 5. Brood patch is growing in, so we score it as a 5.
0 by left.
Yeah. Flight feather wear is 1 by 0. Next one. Fat is 0, body molt is 4. Let's say take a last look at that one. A, you're pretty. B, you are hilariously scruffy. You're also very bitey. Okay, fine, you can go. Alright. I'm going to skip off for a break for a few minutes. Get a bit of a drink, let somebody else band for a little while. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back in 5 minutes or so. All right, we are back. While I've been just taking a break in the meantime, I had some of our other staff and volunteers catching us up a little bit, so we have slightly less of a backlog. I say only slightly. We're going to have I'm going to have another of our staff members working on beside me off camera, but we'll leave the more interesting birds for the stream. Speaking of which, I'm informed this is a good one. It's definitely a little bit on the different side, and not how you normally expect these guys to look, especially based on their name. So it's looking just a little bit on the drab side, not a lot going on, but we do notice that there's this really lovely flash of yellow on the tail. If this was an older male, this would be black and orange. This is an American redstart, which is one of the many warblers we have around. Where is the red on it? That's an excellent question. They don't have, even the adult males don't have any red on them. It's only orange. The red does not start on a redstart. But yeah, they were named after a European bird, which they look vaguely like, which is why they're the American redstart. You'll find a lot of birds with the American prefix to their name are just named after a European bird that looks vaguely similar. So my band for this one is 3-0. You also don't have to be whispering off camera.
Mine is size 0.
Wow, I do not remember how redstarts work. I haven't done one this year.
Band number 12. Okay, and it's
American
another
redstart. Where are you on here? There you are.
after hatchery by
Page 496. So now you work the same way as all other warblers in terms of molt. So it's a question of...
It's about 11.6.
It's a question of aging you.
Yeah, I would say male by plumage.
You know, I'm just going to cheat and skull it, because skull is always the same for every bird.
61.
Oh, and you're making it easy for me.
Dash the tail because it's still growing. Make a comment.
So my bird is a hatchier by skull. Skull is a 2. And since it's a hatchier, this yellow down here is more of just a dirty yellow. Not a lot going on, no orange in there. And R3 is what I'm going to be looking at, so the third one in.
0, fat 0. Molt is a 4.
And there's just a little dab of yellow on this tail feather right here. So if this was male, there would be yellow that goes quite a bit further along, plus this yellow under the flank would be a lot brighter and tinged with orange. So this is a female.
Do you know the net weight? Is it 59? 59?
Yeah. Wing is 59. Tail is 50. Like that, we're 0 by 0.
I'll go to 0 again.
All is 0, or rather 0, 0, 1, 0.
Okay, great. So number 13, yellow warbler.
And that is this redstart, who is very impatient to go, so you know what, I'm not going to deny her. Get out of here.
You're done with that picture. Yeah. Okay, weight's 9.0.
New net.
Net 60. Hatcher by P or by MB.
More on screen.
Okay. Sex unknown.
Oops. Okay, bye. That one just kind of snuck out on me.
Go out the door. There's the door.
Someone else can chase that one around.
My
Once your hands are free.
Okay. Can I help in some way or?
No, for the most part, she'll figure
There's
it
a
out.
net. Okay.
Moving right along. Sometimes they sneak away from us, but that's why we keep the door open.
Okay.
So this is another yellow warbler.
Take this one. It's 56 and 42 are the measurements.
And is 1-4.
Yeah. You're so close, though, okay. Is that 161?
Yeah, these are all from 61.
And the weight?
Weight is 9.2. Right? Yes, you're not looking over here. This is a after hatch year by MR. Our flight feathers are being replaced symmetrically on both sides. Again, older bird thing.
You didn't grab this one, right?
No.
It's a recap. Do you want me to get the number quick?
Sure. Hold, please.
Ready? 280 2880 21714. Okay.
Wing is 60. Tail is 44.
60 and what?
60 and 44.
Okay.
This one's a female by plumage.
Okay. 00 for me.
And this, now that I'm actually seeing the comparison, it's a lot more obvious. You're looking way more drab and your red streaking is barely even there.
000. One volt is a 4.
Heritage of that.
Same net.
Everything is 0. Body molt is 3. See ya.
Oh no. That's funny. Okay, I'll let them run.
Dear Lord, you are also very wriggly. Alright, let's block that up very tightly.
Just leave it the rest of them. Just say escaped.
Dear Lord, you a wren? What is this? No, you're just a very wriggly yellow warbler.
Yeah, there's been a couple.
Why are you like this today? 1-5 is the band.
Does it?
So as you may be noticing, bird personality varies quite a bit from species to species, but can also vary quite a lot within species. Sometimes we'll get a warbler which is just really chill and hangs out in the hand, and sometimes we'll get one which is really wriggly and always looking for chances to escape. This is one of the latter variety. This is a...
My apologies.
Mine is a hatch ear by plumage.
You're 15. Yeah, I'm 16.
I'm actually 28, but... yes, band is 1-5.
Okay.
This one is also... This one's female by plumage. So even in the young ones, the females are quite a bit more drab. There's no red streaking on the chest,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and there is quite a bit of brown on the tails. A lot of these are pretty useless unless you have the bird right there in the hand. Yeah, you try and bite me.
Female. By plumage for both.
A lot of these are pretty useless unless you have the bird in the hand, but they're very useful features for us.
50.
60 and 44 are my measurements.
41.
1 by 0.
56.
And then 0004. Get out of here.
No, that can't be right.
No.
I'll be
2.
right. Yep. 0 by 0. 0, 0, 0.
And now for one that I've been told is quite fun. I actually haven't, I don't think I've banded any of these this year because I've given them all away.
We've caught them when you're not here.
Or we've caught them when I'm not here yet.
8.1.
Okay. Great.
So this one's probably going to be very loud. Hello there. Ooh, you're a pretty one too. So this is something that belongs to the same family as mockingbirds and thrashers. This is a gray catbird. It says meow. And it also says a whole bunch of other things. But yeah, as you can see, quite a bit bigger than a lot of the other birds that we've dealt with today. So it takes a much bigger band. Gray catbirds take a size 1A. Yeah, you're gonna yell at me. 78.
GRCA.
GRCA, yeah. Gurkha. A lot of times when we're recording birds, we use a 4-letter species code as a bit of shorthand. So with gray catbirds, it's GRCA.
36.
I'm using the larger hole on these pliers, which are sized for the larger bands. And that one's on there just like any other bird, except scale it up a little bit. And now catbirds are a bit tricky as far as the aging goes because they have weird molts. So I'm just going to skip straight to cheating. Because I can. It's a feature that's available to me in the fall, so I would be silly not to use it. Alright, I think I see something. That is a skull of 2. So hatch here. This is a young one. And actually, I forgot about something with catbirds. Bite me. I said bite me, not don't snap at me. And now you're being uncooperative.
They're so cute.
The inside of the upper mandible. Can't really show it off very well because this guy's not cooperating. There we go. Now you've bitten me. I don't know how well you can see this, but the inside of the upper mandible is white. On an older bird, it's going to be black. So this is a hatch here also by mandible color.
So the MC, is that a code?
That's MB, yeah.
MB. Should I write that instead of skull? Or use it?
Nah, skull's definitive.
Okay.
So sex is going to be unknown because the males and females of this bird look identical. Wing is 90. Tail is 96. You're sneaking away from me. Can't let you do that. White feather wear is, looks a little on the ratty side, but a lot of that's just net rash. 1 by, yeah, 1 by 1. And because this is a larger bird, you can see a lot of the things that I'm looking for a lot more clearly. So you can see all those pin feathers growing in all over the body. That's those body feathers again being replaced. Breeding characteristics in fat are 0, and body molt is 3. And so that is this one now done. You can just hang out there and pose for everyone for a bit. Or snap at me a little. Alright. You are not being very cooperative. Sorry, what?
Can I still look for photos?
Yeah, absolutely. You're just going to bite my finger now. So I'm going to hand this off to our other staff member so she can take some photos.
Social media.
Yeah.
Did you show them the Rusty one?
I don't believe I did. Ooh. Got it. So one of the handy ID features for gray catbirds is the undertail coverts are all rusty colored. And that's not something you're going to see very often, but that is something that, I don't know, something that's neat. Catbirds are cute.
Thank you.
And we've actually been too efficient. Those are all the birds that we have for the time being.
They're out. I was gonna radio them and see.
Yeah, they're currently out on check. So, they should be coming back any minute now if they don't have a lot. But we might radio them and see what they have and see if maybe they need some rescue. So give me one moment to check in with everyone else. I'll be right back with you. So I've been told that they are on their way back, so we should hopefully have more birds to finish off with.
Do you want to see my owl feather?
Your owl photo?
Feather.
Oh, owl feather. Ooh, you found a feather.
That's it.
Ooh. Whoops. So here's something neat that one of our volunteers found outside on the trail. This is it's a body feather, I think. And this is from one of our local great horned owls. So we have a couple families of them hanging around, and right now the young are somewhere around in the trees, replacing their feathers and growing in their more adult ones. And that means that we end up with a bunch of these great horned owl feathers just littered all over the place. So good find. Yeah, there's at least one pair, probably two. We hear them pretty frequently at night. Catbirds are cute. Rather uncooperative in hand, but that meow sound is pretty adorable. And also, they're mimics, so it's neat to just go around and hear them singing about 20 different bird songs all jumbled together.
They're quite uncooperative in the hand. Trying to take photos and it was not working.
I mean, mimids are just not.
Yep.
They're not the most cooperative ones at all.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought they were icterids for a while. For some reason, I just thought they were blackbirds because they had funky molts that were kind of blackbirdy.
Yeah.
I never actually looked at the taxonomy. I just assumed based on their molt strategy.
They have similar body types too.
Yeah, so I can be forgiven for thinking that.
I'll forgive you.
The beaks are a bit different though. And also I was young and inexperienced and didn't know what mimics were. Ooh, can you bring me the species board?
Ooh, is catbird on here?
Catbird's on there, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there it is. I just want to show off the all the stuff we've caught this year.
Oh, double check the number, I don't know. That's been updated.
So, in case anyone is curious, we do keep track of the various species that we catch every year. Here's our little whiteboard of everything that we've caught so far just on fall migration. We're already up to 37 species. So there's quite a little, ooh, sorry, that's upside down. Let me fix that. I did not realize that was upside down, and now I need to wait for the stream to catch up. Because I'm looking at this based on the actual stream feed, which is delayed. There we go. Yeah, it's more, it's backwards. I just fixed it. Oh, it's double backwards. Right, yes, because this is a webcam feed, so it's mirrored. Never mind then, this isn't going to show up well. I wonder if I can, hang on, let me do some wizardry in OBS real quick. I can, I don't remember how to do that just off the top of my head. Alright, never mind. We're up to 37 species. There's a bunch of them. We've caught a bunch of things this fall, so, and we're going to catch a bunch more. So.
And if they join us on events.
Speaking of which, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, you can come out and watch in person. We do run regular events on the weekends for people to come out to site and watch us band birds up close and personal. I'm trying to, give you guys the full experience here, but I am limited by technology and what I have access to. But in the meantime, I've just been brought more birds, so let's get those done, shall we? And I think these 3 birds will hopefully be something decent to end on. Because we're coming up to about where I wanted to finish the stream off. There'll either be 3 birds that are cool and interesting, or there'll be more of what we've already seen a whole bunch today. Well, that's a neat one. This one should be familiar. We have that characteristic yellow rump, and the fact that it looks like an absolute disaster. So here's another myrtle warbler. Band is 1-7. This is not one of our local breeders, by the way. This is a boreal species, and we are very much not in boreal forest. We're just south of it. So every single one of these myrtle warblers that's passing through is one that is currently migrating. So fall migration is very much on. This is showing the same thing the last one was showing. We've got flight feather replacement in sequence, which is something that only adult birds show. And also we have a ridiculous half-grown in tail. So this is an after hatch year by flight feather replacement, so by MR. And I think I can do the same trick with this one as I did with the last one. Yep. So same as the last one, there is a residual brood patch, which allows me to call this female. And I can also combine that with plumage stuff. On a male, at this time of year, they'd still be showing quite a lot more black under the eye here in the mask. Instead, this is just a bit of a gray. So female by brood patch or by plumage, take your pick. Wing is 6'9", I'm not going to take a tail. Flight feather wear is 1/0. Breeding characteristics are 0 and 5. Fat is 0. Body mold is 4.
Still weight there.
Weight is 12.2 grams. So I haven't been calling out the weight all that much, but yes, most of these birds I've been handling weigh about 10 grams, which is not very much. And I keep forgetting myself and accidentally bringing the birds off camera. I need to do a better job of remembering that. But let's take a moment to admire this disastrously scruffy lady before we send her off. And you can release that one. Now slide on. Unit. This will have to serve. Well, like I said, we are a bit on the less accessible side just because we are off the beaten path. So this is a decent alternative for coming out in person. That's what I was envisioning. So another Impidinax flycatcher, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Sixth flight feather is emarginated, which means this is a least flycatcher, like many of the flycatchers around here. 2, 1. They're also a bit of a whiny one.
2, 1, you said?
2, 1.
It's 0, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Three, 1, pardon me.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's not in sequence with all the rest, let me know.
For sure.
Again, we have buffy wing bars, and also the fact that the adults have all cleared out by now. I took that off camera again. I need to pay more attention to that. I almost need to like have some tape demarcating the area that's on camera. So we have buffy wing bars again, meaning that this is a hatchier bird. The sex is unknown. Ooh, almost snuck away from me there. Wing is 60, tail is 52. 0 by 1. Uh, 0003. So I should mention, these are one of our most common local breeders. We have excellent habitat for them here. In fact, alright, calm down you. In fact, we have reason to believe that there are as many as 2,000 of these birds in just the 1 square kilometer area surrounding our lab on any given year. And that's based on observed density of breeding territories and known nests. So that's quite a lot of birds. We also capture them quite frequently, so there's a lot supporting that. They are an aerial insectivore, meaning they're one of those birds that will catch insects in the air while flying. So they need to be very good flyers, which is why they have such long wings relative to their body. They're also one of those ones that's not doing particularly hot, mainly because our use of insecticides, namely neonicotinoids, has caused a lot of runoff effects that's really impacting insect populations. So a lot of these insectivores just have way less food available to them, meaning they can't really support themselves and their young all that much. So that's the kind of thing that research like ours has revealed over the years. One of the most important things about banding is that it helps reveal population trends, which does let us pinpoint species that are doing poorly that might not appear to be doing poorly at first glance. Yeah, this one can go back into the wild. And here's our last bird of the check. Pardon me. Don't sneak out on me. I'd rather you not do that. Oh, and what do you know? Another flycatcher. And another least flycatcher at that. So we're finishing off with the bird that may as well be our unofficial mascot. We certainly catch them enough. 3, 2. This one is also a hatchier based on those buffy wing bars. An adult will have much whiter wing bars along here, and we'll also have there'll be sort of a place where the quality of feathers change in the middle of it. It'll look a lot more worn as well. So yeah, hatchier, sex unknown. Flight feather wear is 0 by 0. Wing is 60. Tail is 53. 0 fat, and trace body mold. So this is 1. And weight is, that's not right, I don't think that was 0 correctly. We are flycatcher catchers. As well as other things. Based on overall volume, I think you'd classify us more as warbler catchers if we're just going by taxonomy. Warblers make up the vast majority of the groups that we banned.
What's that?
I forgot to record the weight.
Sorry.
Sorry, back in the tube, little guy. One last time. 9.4 grams. Alright, so there we go. This little guy will probably end up migrating to southern Mexico, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. A lot of these birds we ended up recapturing in Guadalajara. And we also, in the past, and this is like over a decade ago, we recovered several birds that, several flycatchers that had homemade bands that we tracked down to one bander in Mexico who just wasn't able to get USGS bands. So that was a neat one. There's always a story we like to share every now and then. But yeah, this is one of literally thousands of flycatchers we capture over the years. And it'll be interesting to see where this one ends up going, if it ends up showing up again. The vast majority of the birds that we banned, we just sort of never hear from again, because they need to be recaptured in order to actually get any data out of them. But the rate of them actually being recaptured somewhere else is on the order of about 0.6%. It's very low. But again, you saw me banned like 50, 60 birds today. So just based on volume, we do get a decent amount of data just by having a high enough number. Anyway, I think I can call it here, where I've finished up with birds for the time being, and it seems to be slowing down at the nets. Plus, my voice is starting to wear out. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Feel free to let me know if there was anything that I could improve for later streams, something I can improve about the format or the setup. I am kind of just making things up as I go along. But otherwise, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you have a great day. We'll finish things up here and be here like we always are. Pardon me. There's my voice conking out. So, goodbye everyone. Thanks for tuning in.